Sean Connery defined James Bond for a generation. His portrayal of the suave, sophisticated, and deadly secret agent became the gold standard for the character. He brought Ian Fleming's secret agent to life in the 1960s, capturing the essence of the character with his unique blend of charm and toughness. Dr. No, From Russia, With Love, Goldfinger. These films cemented Connery as the ultimate Bond. Each movie showcased his ability to balance the character's sophistication with a gritty, no-nonsense approach to danger. His portrayal, a mix of suave charm and ruthless efficiency, captivated audiences worldwide. Connery's Bond was not just a spy, he was a cultural icon, embodying the cool, collected demeanor that many aspired to.
Connery became synonymous with 007, his performances setting the standard for all future Bonds. His influence was so profound that every actor who followed in his footsteps was inevitably compared to him. But you know, even legends take breaks. Connery's time as Bond wasn't without its challenges, and after a string of successful films, he decided to step away from the role. After You Only Live Twice, Connery stepped away from the role. The pressures of fame and the desire to explore other acting opportunities led him to take a hiatus. George Lazenby briefly donned the tuxedo, but fans clamored for Connery's return. Lazenby's portrayal, while commendable, didn't quite capture the magic that Connery had brought to the character. He answered the call in 1971 with Diamonds Are Forever, seemingly closing the book on his Bond career. This film was a triumphant return, reminding audiences why Connery was the definitive Bond. Yet, Connery's Bond story didn't end there. In 1983, he returned once more in Never Say Never Again, a non-Eon production that allowed him to reprise the role in a unique way. This final performance was a nostalgic nod to his legacy, cementing his place in cinematic history. Connery's impact on the Bond franchise is immeasurable. His portrayal set a benchmark that has influenced every subsequent actor who has taken on the role. Even today, his Bond is often regarded as the quintessential interpretation of the character. As we look back on his career, it's clear that Sean Connery's legacy as James Bond will endure for generations to come. His contribution to the world of cinema and the iconic character of 007 remains unparalleled. So here's to Sean Connery, the man who defined James Bond and left an indelible mark on the world of film. His legacy lives on, not just in the movies, but in the hearts of fans everywhere. Diamonds Are Forever saw Connery battling his nemesis Blofeld in a tale of diamond smuggling. This film, released in 1971, marked Connery's return to the role after a brief hiatus. The plot was filled with intrigue, action, and the classic Bond charm that fans had come to love. Connery's portrayal of Bond was as charismatic as ever, bringing a sense of gravitas and wit to the character that few could match. Although a box office success, the film received mixed reviews. Some praised its return to the more lighthearted and extravagant style of earlier Bond films, while others felt it was a step back from the grittier, more realistic tone of its predecessor, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. The audience, however, flocked to theaters, eager to see Connery don the tuxedo once more.
Some critics felt it lacked the spark of Connery's earlier outings. They pointed out that the plot was convoluted and the villains less menacing. Yet Connery's performance was still lauded, with many noting that he brought a seasoned, world-weary edge to Bond that added depth to the character. Regardless, it appeared to be a fitting end to Connery's Bond journey. The final scenes of the movie, with Bond walking away into the sunset, felt like a poignant farewell to an era. Connery had become synonymous with the character, and his departure left a void that many believed could never be filled. He'd given his all to the role, leaving an indelible mark on cinema history. From the iconic gun barrel sequence to the memorable one-liners, Connery's Bond was a cultural phenomenon. His suave demeanor, sharp wit, and undeniable screen presence set the standard for all future Bonds.
Little did fans know that fate and a tangled web of legal battles had other plans for Sean Connery and James Bond. Behind the scenes, there were disputes over rights and contracts that would eventually lead to an unexpected twist in the Bond saga. The legal wrangling was complex, involving multiple parties and years of negotiations. 12 years later, the impossible would happen. Connery would return as 007 in a film that defied convention and challenged the very notion of what a Bond movie could be. Never Say Never Again, released in 1983, was not part of the official Bond series, but was a remake of Thunderball. Connery's return was met with both excitement and skepticism, but his performance proved that he still had the charisma and skill to bring Bond to life. This unexpected comeback added a fascinating chapter to the Bond legacy, showing that even in the world of espionage, you can never say never. 1983 saw the release of Never Say Never Again, a film shrouded in controversy and intrigue. It wasn't an Eon Productions film, the studio behind the official Bond franchise. Instead, it emerged from a legal battle over the rights to James Bond, specifically the Thunderball storyline.
This wasn't just another Bond adventure, it was a rogue Bond, existing outside the established continuity. And it had Sean Connery back in the tuxedo. The film sent shockwaves through Hollywood and ignited a firestorm of excitement among Bond fans. The legend had returned, defying expectations and adding a new chapter to the Bond saga.
The story of Never Say Never Again is intertwined with the legal battles over James Bond's cinematic rights. Kevin McClory, a screenwriter who had collaborated with Ian Fleming on the Thunderball story, claimed co-ownership of certain Bond elements, including the SPECTRE organization and Blofeld. This legal battle raged for years, resulting in McClory securing the rights to produce his own version of Thunderball. Never Say Never Again became that film, a direct adaptation of the Thunderball plot with Connery returning to the role he'd made famous. Luring back a legend Connery's terms. Convincing Sean Connery to reprise his role as James Bond was no easy feat. The actor had firmly decided to move on from the iconic character, believing that chapter of his life was firmly closed. He had ventured into other roles, exploring different facets of his acting prowess, and had no intention of returning to the spy genre that had made him a household name. He had moved on, accepting that chapter of his life was closed. Connery had embraced new challenges and opportunities, distancing himself from the shadow of James Bond. His career had flourished in other directions, and he was content with the legacy he had left behind as the suave British spy. But producer Jack Schwartzman saw the potential of a Connery-led Bond film outside the Eon Productions umbrella. Schwartzman was determined to bring Connery back, believing that the actor's return would not only reignite the franchise, but also bring a fresh perspective to the character. He envisioned a Bond film that would stand apart from the rest, driven by Connery's unparalleled charisma and experience. Connery agreed to return, but under strict conditions. He was not willing to compromise on his terms, knowing his worth and the impact his return would have on the film. Connery's conditions were clear and non-negotiable, reflecting his confidence and the leverage he held in the negotiations. He demanded a significant salary, script approval, and creative control over his character. Connery wanted to ensure that the film would meet his standards and that his portrayal of Bond would be authentic and true to his vision. He was not just returning for a paycheck, he wanted to make a meaningful contribution to the franchise and a percentage of the film's profits. This was a bold move, but Connery knew his value and the draw his name would bring to the box office. His demands were a testament to his business acumen and his understanding of the film industry's dynamics. It was a testament to Connery's star power and his importance to the Bond legacy. His return was not just about nostalgia, it was about bringing a level of gravitas and authenticity that only he could provide. Connery's involvement elevated the project, making it a highly anticipated event in the film industry. He wasn't just an actor returning to a role, he was a force to be reckoned with, and the filmmakers knew it. Connery's presence on set was commanding, and his influence was felt in every aspect of the production. His return to the role of James Bond was a defining moment, not just for the franchise, but for Connery's illustrious career as well. Section 6. Training with Seagal, a new Bond for a new era. At 53, Connery was older, more seasoned than during his previous Bond outings. To prepare for the physically demanding role, he underwent rigorous training. His trainer was none other than Steven Seagal, a martial arts expert who would later become an action star in his own right.
This training regimen focused on strength agility and fighting techniques, ensuring Connery could convincingly portray Bond's physicality. It was a new era for both actor and character, one demanding a more mature, experienced approach to the role.
Section 7. Departing from tradition, a unique Bond film. Never Say Never Again stands apart from the official Eon Productions Bond films in several ways. The legal constraints surrounding its production prevented the use of certain iconic Bond elements. The classic gun barrel sequence and Monty Norman's iconic theme music were absent.
The film had a different tone, a more self-aware and even humorous approach to the Bond formula. This was partly due to Connery's own input and his desire to subvert expectations. Never Say Never Again felt like a Bond film made by a team passionate about the character but unafraid to explore new territory.
Section 8, A Legacy Defined. Connery's final bow as 007. Never Say Never Again marked Sean Connery's final performance as James Bond. It was a fittingly unconventional end to his legendary tenure as 007. The film may have existed outside the official Bond canon, but it served as a reminder of Connery's impact on the character and his enduring appeal as the ultimate Bond.
His performance, though different from his earlier outings, still exuded charisma, wit, and a hint of ruthlessness. He embodied Bond's maturity and experience, proving that age hadn't diminished his ability to captivate audiences.
Section 9, The World of Bond, An Invitation to Explore. Never Say Never Again may be a unique entry in the James Bond franchise, but it's a reminder of the enduring power of Ian Fleming's creation. Bond's world of espionage, adventure, and intrigue continues to fascinate audiences worldwide.
So delve into the world of 007. Explore the official Eon Productions films, each offering its own take on the Bond mythos. Discover the novels that started it all, Ian Fleming's thrilling tales of espionage and adventure. The world of James Bond is vast and exciting with something for everyone. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content. See you on the next video.